Welcome to another episode of the Business of Coaching Workshop. I'm your host, Andrew Jackson, coach, strength and nutrition coach at Barbell Logic, and the founder and product manager, co-founder and product manager of TurnKey Coach. My guest today, Eric Priestley, spent 7 years as a chef, trained at Le Cordon Bleu in Paris, and owned his own bakery for 4 of those years before back pain and bar loaded with plates pulled him out of the kitchen into a completely different career. Excited to hear about that transition. And today, Eric is both the transformation director at Iron Will Fitness Studio and the coach behind Priest Strength and Power, his online coaching practice. In under 2 years of online coaching, he's built a book of 19 clients, keeping 74% of them on the roster and programming over 3,000 workouts, which his clients have actually completed more than 2,500, 82% completion rate, which anyone who's ever coached anybody knows this is an awesome metric that matters. He's written over 2,750 training sessions, and his clients have moved 22.6 million pounds. That's 11,300 short tons, or if you prefer your cosmic comparisons, about 3.5 Saturn V rockets. Eric is also a very accomplished lifter. He's eats his own cooking, if you will, and his own coaching to the tune of a 465-pound squat, 535-pound deadlift, all self-programmed. And we're here to talk about how he actually built his business, the acquisition, retention, premium touch model, where every single one of his active clients gets a coaching review 7 days a week. I've also got some, impressive numbers here in terms of how many workouts you're averaging a week. I think it's 97 reviews per week for those clients. So really high touch model. So Eric, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Right. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
I'm excited to have you on. You've been really active on our internal communication lately, and really caught my eye when you posted recently that you've been able to grow your online coaching business to a point where you've been able to, quote, pay your mortgage with your coaching income, that's a huge milestone.
It sure is. And no joke there. Like it hit that. And I posted the, I think I posted that in the in that Slack thread there, and it's just like I'm grateful. I'm grateful to have the tools to be able to do that. And that's 100%, man.
So tell us a little bit about your story and how you transitioned from professional baker and owner of a bakery to a strength coach.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely about that. Like it. It kind of starts with my own, transformation and a little bit of bitterness, but after going through that transition is something that I'm very transparent about with all of my clients and the coaches that I work with, because when you work hard over the years and you have kids, I definitely developed like the dad bod and became very deconditioned, and that's when the back injury happened, and it really it resulted in me sleeping on like a pencil, on the floor with a couple of towels for about a year. I was diagnosed with some form of degenerative disc disease in my lumbar. The pain was very real. Like it was extraordinary. Life-changing. And not much later after that, my first wife was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer. So then on top of the injury, I became a caretaker for about 2.5 years. And I'm just going to put like a ... on that path, because, crawling out of that hole, it took a few years to bring this back around, and a lot of personal growth and becoming a single dad, and then just getting on with life. It was so wow. During the period, I hired a coach. I hired another coach. I started to get strong. I got my first NASM certification. I was pretty sure like I wanted to change careers. I wanted to do this thing. So like the first step was like gonna shoot for something, right? And so I got a certification. I started squatting, benching, and deadlifting. Deadlifting, I think, is what I started with when I was going through with my second coach. We did a barbell rehab, getting out of back pain, and and then all the compound lifts after that. And I just really started to get stronger in ways that I had never been in 2 decades. Maybe my whole life, really, to be honest. And then I started competing too. I started competing in powerlifting, and I was just like, and this is the gears were turning in my mind. And then, when I came back to the States, I just hit it full throttle. I was like, I'm just going to do this. Whatever happens. I'm just going to punch the button. So when I came back to the States in 2023, I found I found a pretty nice, agreeable boss man at a brick and mortar small fitness studio. We set up there. He let me do my sales consults, and I started to take on clients. And I think that's when sitting down one-on-one with people is when I really started to realize how how to start a relationship with a complete stranger, how to listen to people, how to understand people, and forming something real right away, just very quickly. And then this was also like when I realized, like, hey, I can do this. Like I can coach, I can train, and I can probably be that person that they can rely on, that advice they may or may not want to hear, but it's going to help them, right? And it's going to help push them to become the strongest version of themselves, because I did it, and I did it from coming from a very negative integer, right? Coming from a pit and then climbing the rank, climbing the rungs up. I just feel like I'm completely convicted that, like, if I could do it from that point, I think anybody can. Okay. And they just need the right guidance to do that. So that's how I think this is how I got running with my coaching. Okay. With just, that's right. The start. That was the actual realization, like, this can work.
Can I rewind just a bit because what was the moment where you thought, in extreme back pain, I need to go get stronger? Kind of counterintuitive for the average person.
Yeah. So it's when the doctor told me they suggested surgery, and they wanted to do some, right, cut me open. And then I just, I think was always in the back of my mind somewhere, but it pulled it to the front when it was like, no, man, I'm cool. Like, I think I'm going to try something else first. I ended up doing like 24 sessions of physical therapy. It started to help a little bit, but there's definitely a gap between physical therapy and getting strong that's just not there. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you're done with your sessions. Now what?
Right.
I don't know, but you have to do something. So, and so
you said what was your background growing? Like, you play sports growing up, or do you have like any kind of athletic background, or?
Yeah, 100%.
First endeavor.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, about that, in high school, and let's see. So high school, I didn't do any of the ball sports. I ran track, cross country. I started my high school rock climbing team. So I was an avid climber for about 10 years of my life. I did traditional climbing. If you know, they're just doing traditional and sport climbing. I did traditional more so than sport, but I was also a climb instructor. I loved it until I stopped loving it. I'm not really sure how to describe that, but it just changed in life, and without going down that route. But and then when I stopped loving it, that's also when I started getting into the kitchen work, and that's 70 to 80 hours a week. So so then that was the life after that. But yeah, absolutely athletic until I wasn't. And then I guess that would be like 2 decades of inactivity or something, maybe somewhere 15, 20 years.
So you started, so then getting back to the coaching side of things, you started out working as a hired gun, essentially, or a trainer at a brick and mortar gym.
Yeah.
How did that evolve into a point where then you decided to open up your own online coaching service, and tell us about how you came up with that strategy?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. So that in the very beginning of that was off of a Table Talk podcast when I heard Matt. This is a little bit before his book came out. And he was just, that it was a 2-hour podcast, but anyway, the gist of it was the service levels in online training are equal to, if not better than, in-person training. I was like, that's bullshit. There's no way. I don't believe that, because I did break fix IT work for 20 years, 15, 20 years. I was on the service. I was on the shit end of the stick. I was the guy that smoothed it over and made everything right. But, the more that I listened to that podcast, it's like, whoa, like I'm missing something here, and I need to listen to it again and again and think about this, let the gears turn. And if you really once you start to do it, and once you actually start to become an online trainer, you can see the wisdom in that, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I can, it's kind of like when you have a fogged up window and you clear out a little, or an icy window, and you clear out a little space so you can drive your car just enough until it all the way clears out. It's like this thing happened. It was like a little clear spot. So it was like, yes, online training could be potentially a lot higher service level than in person. And all the things about that. So it's just like, and that was kind of at that moment in that podcast, I had that feeling. And somehow I got on a phone call with Matt. I don't know how that got scheduled anyways. And we were just like chatting on the phone. I was like, what a crazy opportunity to be chatting with, Matt Reynolds, and like, wow. And so he just tells me about all this stuff. And he's just going through all this stuff. And I think this is when his book was about to be put out, like a week before. And then he was like, there's this academy, there's these things, and all these things, resources for coaches, for other coaches, if that makes right. I think I said that right. So that was it for me. I was like, well, let's do it. Let's see what this is about, because I think this is going to be great. And I couldn't have been more right. It was just, that was it. It was like, wow, okay, this, that was the beginning. That was the answer to your question.
It's a really fascinating moment you just described there, because Mac and I, who do most of the sales calls, and Matt does as well. We've been doing this for so long that we don't even recognize that there's that ice on the windshield that you're describing. To us,
totally, yeah.
Online coaching is this really high service level, high value customer experience that retains clients for years on end, and they're willing to pay a premium for it. And it's super efficient, dollar per hour for the coach. This sweet spot intersection of service level, that price point, and hours that the coach spends to be able to deliver that service. But when we talk to particularly brick and mortar gym owners, it feels like it is that you're talking to somebody who's on the other side of that windshield. And it's really always interesting to hear what that moment is that clicks for people when they're able to see it. You mentioned the podcast. Was there a moment when you got into actually doing it that it clicked, or was it just kind of a gradual thawing out of the windshield? I'm going to keep going back to that.
Number two, I'm much more organic in my approach to almost everything. I just have to let things play out before I can really understand it. I just don't. You can have some wisdom to be like, oh, there's the little hole in the ice or in the fog. I can see that. Let's travel towards that. Like, let's try it and see, and then that's really how I built up. It was like, you offer that to your in-person clients, like programming. You're already doing the programming. So now you have a platform to put it on, and you can call it something. After you call it something, you can charge for that something, right? And then it just that's how it started. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So how many clients were you or are you working with as your in-person pool?
Yeah, so that first year I got up to about 43 in-person sessions a week, depending on who was there or who wasn't. So it was pretty busy.
Small group training in that environment?
Yeah, 6 of those. Yeah, 6, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 6 of those were small group trainings. The rest were just one-on-ones.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how many hours were you putting in on the floor?
Yeah, I don't want to know.
Coming from the bakery life that you were describing, it still felt like fewer hours.
Just I think most of those sessions were at that time 45-minute sessions. So I've never been a proponent of an hour-long session. There's always been this thing that we do. It's like, you can come 15 minutes early, you can leave 15 minutes late. We can save that time and pack a little bit more sessions in. It makes sense, right? And so
that's interesting. What can you kind of pull the thread a little bit more on that? What is the What's the rationale for the 45-minute session?
Right. I mean, it's just easier to schedule if you want some time in between your sessions. So if you schedule hour blocks, you get that 15 minutes that you're probably going to be talking to them anyways. You get the overlap. And then, if you train somebody how to do their warm-ups and what you expect before you get them, then I'm going to hit you for the meat and potatoes after you do that stuff that I don't need to be with you for. Then I'm going to coach you, right? Just it comes down to like, right, in that 45 minutes, you probably coach them for 5 or 10 minutes on how to do something you want them to do. All this, where we're going to go with that. But
for sure,
if you can get them to come in and do their warm-ups, most people can. And then
can you describe the
like,
space? Sorry to interrupt. The space you're in, like square footage, and is it like a commercial style gym?
Yeah, it's big enough to do that. There's a green area they can warm up on, and then there's we have some cardio machines and stuff like that. So like, hey, I'm going to give you this warm up, takes 15 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever, and then I'm going to hit you for the meat and potatoes for 45 minutes, and then after that you got 15-20 minutes of this cardio work, whatever to do after that. The conditioning work ensues after that. This would be like kind of a standard session, right? You feel like you got a good workout in when you did, and you got a good strength, got your strength training in. Always started with the primaries, the secondaries, tertiaries, and then cardio, something like this at the end. So pretty standard. I think the 45 minutes seems to work out pretty good, though.
Based on the programming, I can see you are a pretty big proponent of the big four: squat, bench, press, deadlift, and accessories, obviously. But do you have sort of like 4 or 5 power racks that you're working with people on, and what's that structure look like?
Yeah, actually, the environment's not very optimal, to be honest with you. So yeah, in terms of that, like we kind of share a very large Sternex rack that also services the suspension trainers, the TRX trainers that we use. And so we bought some extra safeties for those. We do have a big squat rack. It's not very optimal either, but we can make things work, though. It's okay. You just have to move things around and work around the other people that are there, and it's okay. I think we always just kind of go into it with the idea of like, everybody's cool in the gym. We just work with them. And if we need to modify a little bit, we can modify a little bit. It's all right. It's not the end of the world. So, but yeah.
So you had 43 clients, and then the book came
43 sessions. 43
sessions. Sorry. Yeah. 43 sessions a week. So, and at 45 minutes, that's some serious client hours. Matt I had never did the full-time in-person personal training route, but he, this number always sticks out in my head, that his experience working with a gym, owning a gym and being a personal trainer and having personal trainers, is it was somewhere around Strong Gym. It was somewhere around 27 hours was the number he always said. On the gym floor is when the quality starts to sort of taper, because you're just getting 100%, fried.
Man. Yeah. And so I'm down to about 25 right now, and it's perfect. It's great. It's like 3 in the morning, 3 in the evening, and then my middle of my day is filled with my training and my coaching for online. So awesome. I would agree with that sweet spot. Like, this is good. This is
good.
So
at 43, you were starting to feel like, what did that feel like? Were you,
that's burning the candle at both ends. I mean, that's, burning it the family end, burning it your training end, just burning it. How many ever ends you could put on a candle, you could burn them all there, and that'd be about it. It's not, it has no longevity to it. But when you're a single income family and you need the money, like, you're just going to have to do it sometimes, this is it, like, right. So that's all, 2 kids and a wife, and then you need to survive.
Yeah. So walk us through, because this is a question we get all the time, or part of the objection or friction that we experience talking to coaches a lot is, how do you make that transition? A lot of people say, well, people come, they want to work with me because they love being in person with me and the other people in the class. How did you go about building up the book of online clients, which I think the numbers I got, you're up to somewhere around 20 online, which I'm assuming mostly came from your in-person, but walk me through that transition. How'd you make the initial pitch? How do you help people make that switch? What does that look like?
Okay, well, I have a couple recent examples. I think I could probably use those. I've had a couple people, and this is just the lay of the land for me, is that the boss man at my brick and mortar, he doesn't do online. So any of the calls that I get in through there, the people wanting online clients, I can just take those. So that's free. That's fair game for me. Okay. So that's fortunate, right? This is very fortunate landscape. And then two would be like when people are trained up. I just had a couple clients that have been with me for since the beginning, since 2023, and they, and they're in small group training, which they just run their own schedule now, and then they see me once a week, and I'm just like, hey, you're doing great. I mean, you're kind of at this point to where you don't need me as much, right? And I mean that in the best way possible, because you've grown, right? It's your growth in the gym, your degree of technique and your efficiency of all the lifts, your ability to do the lifts and to understand how to do, choose your weights and versus RPE, RIR, what all of these things, they're all there, right? We've already trained you up. Like, you just need me for a few minutes out of the week, basically. You know what I mean? And so if you need, basically going back to the value of it, right? It's like, if you want to try something different, if you do need to save some money, let me know. We can always try a hybrid solution, right? Or we could always try a different solution than just in-person training, right? And so usually what I would do would be like, for those people that have been with me for a while, is I'll just give them a product overview call. Like, I'll set up a Google Meet with them. I'll just go over the whole thing, go over TKC. I'll use one of my clients as an example and just show them how it works. And they're like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, okay. And I don't try to sell them or anything. I just let them have the overview of it, right? And it just sits. And because we already have a rapport, we've known each other for 2 or 3 years, and then they know that it's there, it's a resource. Okay. And so if they feel like they want to use the resource, it's there. Later, I started to add on the TKC as a premium for the programming, which is even better because it has a smaller buy-in, and they can already start to use all of the features, like the video uploads, the form checks, and all these things. They're already on the system before they need to make that jump, right?
Yep.
But usually the jump it'll just be organic. They'll just be like, yeah, hey, I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna go work out somewhere else, like a powerlifting gym, because they have comp weight plates here.
Right.
Yeah, something like this, right?
But they still want to work with you. Like, they want to maintain the relationship.
Yeah. Right. They could. Yeah, exactly. 100%. They still need a program. They still need small level, like pivot points, right, to when things aren't going as planned. All these kind of things that happen in life. It's like, where do you go in programming when work's going crazy or whatever? Where do you go in programming when you have some extra free time, or where do you go in programming when you want to do a comp, or these things like this? Where's the transition? Where's the pivot points? And to me, I mean, that's really the actual real coaching, right? I mean, a part of that. I mean, I don't need to say real coaching, but like,
I know what you mean.
I think. Thanks. Yeah, thanks. That the kind of
but I mean, there's
parts of where we like to be.
It evolves over time, right? When you're working with somebody who's new to training, there's a certain skill set and value that a coach brings, where I think a strong argument could be made that in-person coaching is super useful. When you can fix 3, 4, 5 setup errors and a couple of movement errors in one session that would take, it's not that you can't do it online. It's just everything takes a little bit longer. And, somebody who doesn't have confidence with the movement, you can add more support and, correction in the moment. But when you're talking about real coaching, I think the amount of time where that type of coach interaction, where you're actually in there, like grabbing their wrist and moving their feet and fixing something where it's like, whoa, we really need to change this movement, like right now.
Yeah.
After 3-4 months, somebody's pretty proficient, and you have to start getting into what I think you mean by real coaching, where you're having to.
I think that word you used was much better. The evolution of coaching.
Yeah, like you get to a point where
better said. Thank you.
You're making strategic and tactical changes to their program based on how their needs evolve or their circumstance changes. When they're out of the cookie cutter, just do these basic things that work for everybody, and you have to make a little bit kind of higher order thinking decisions. That's where then I think that's where Matt's argument really takes off,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
now you can provide those really high value aspects of coaching at a fraction of the price, which I was going to ask if you don't mind sharing, like how much do you charge for your in-person versus how much
Sure.
you
Sure.
charge for the hybrid, or, if you have varying levels of service there too.
100%. But one of to go back to what you're saying, like the evolution of coaching, I think that's exactly like what a great way to coin that. Like, and that's perfect. And like after you coach somebody for 2 or 3 years, you kind of, as a coach, you would hope to be in that area with them,
That's
right?
right.
I almost want to be there. If I'm still doing the basics, I think I've done something totally horribly wrong, right? Or something, you know what I mean? Or maybe
Yeah.
just move like a wombat to begin with. I'm not sure. We have those people too, but
Sure.
you would hope to be in that evolution of coaching during that 2 to 3 year period. So
yeah.
But so in-person coaching there starts at about $75 a session. So one-on-one, $75 a session. They combine in the transformation program, they combine the group classes with the one-on-ones, which is a super high value program. It's kind of hard to upsell after they've been in that program because it only adds on $20 a week, and they get 3 45-minute coach ran classes that are awesome. So you get 4 sessions a week for just $20 more. So $75, $85, $95 a week, you're getting 4 sessions a week, which is
pretty good deal.
It's a killer deal. Probably too good. But anyways, so there's that. But I will say the people that have been in the transformation program with me would usually have done this migration, I would call it, of stopping the transformation program because there's less specificity in the group classes. And then they would only start with one-on-ones to me. So they'd probably go to like 2 or 3 a week for a little while. Okay. This is not a long-term solution because for most people it's cost prohibitive.
Yep.
But then they would scale down, and then we would either work to build them a home gym or find them another way to practice somewhere else. So they can also get in their supplemental practice, right? So we always have that sweet spot, 3 or 4 days a week, right? But 2 is not just enough. 2 is kind of more maintenance level, right? So depending on what you're programming, right? We're just saying just strength training, right? Strength training focus, right? So, $75 a session. Yeah.
Okay, so if I can do the math right here, your introductory transformation is like $380 a month. That you then from that you get a subset at some point that are willing to go up to like $600 a month or $650.
$600 a month, yeah.
Yeah, and then you off ramp them.
$800 right now. Yeah,
$800 a month, amazing. And then what's the hybrid? What are the hybrid services that you offer?
Yeah, so the hybrid is the first solution I have right now is and the one that I'm using. I think that works successfully, and I'm still kind of figuring that out too, to be honest. Like in all transparency, like the one, so you get one-on-one a month. We kind of just get like a check-in session per month, and then you get the programming and everything else TKC has to offer for $200 a month.
Okay.
So
and the one-on-one is still at the $75, or is it included in that 200?
In the 200 for the in-person people that I've had, I give them one-on-one as a check-in per month, and they can get 75 after that. Yes.
Got it.
I have that right now in this price point. It's included with that 200, which I think may be on the low end, but I also think if you're coming from the transformation or you take it from the service level, I think it's a good buy-in, and I think they can save a lot. Yeah, I think it's something I feel comfortable selling. If that makes sense. Right. And so the plan is to fill 8 more spots there, and then maybe we can have a price increase or something like this.
Yep.
The idea.
Awesome. And so that you've basically over a year and a half, almost 2 years, have been able to grow up to around 20 clients.
Yeah. So, right, exactly. So in the in-person sessions are down to about 25 right now.
Wow.
And then the EFT through TKC is definitely well over my mortgage. A couple people onboarding right now. So, nice. It's looking like a great year. Yeah.
And that, like, what was the point? Was it a intentional strategy to say, okay, I'm going to bring the online up and let the in-person go down? Or, was that just sort of like an organic transformation?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both, but like
Yeah,
we know that like the number of sessions is a finite thing, right? So you're
sure.
going to cap your money out anyways, right? So you like while
Yep.
43 sessions can produce a lot of money, it's not a viable solution long term. You're
Yeah.
going to cap out, and that's it. That's all you can make until you increase your session prices.
Yep.
But for the online, there's really not a cap to that, is there? So I mean, maybe there is when you get to your level or something like this. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe how much can you do? But maybe I'm nowhere near that cap, right? And
Right.
so
Well,
that's where my mind goes with this.
what
So
we typically see, or what I've observed, are the people, the hyperscalers, if you will, is that
mhm.
it's depending on their level of service, it's somewhere between 70 to 100 clients that I
Wow.
notice um, people will start hiring other coaches to help them with
Yeah,
that
that's
means
a
that,
lot of people. God,
their
that's a huge
sales and
roster.
marketing has become strong enough that, and their retention is strong enough that
Mhm.
they can support another coach. And
Yeah,
um, personally, I just seem to kind of hit my limit, but it's because I've got, a lot of other things I'm trying to get done throughout the day.
you never
But
get to slack. You're always in there. I always see you.
it's I agree. I mean, there is a cap. It's just way higher than in person, because it's also just less
Yeah.
draining.
Hmm.
I can
Hmm.
coach
Yeah.
30, 40 people in half an hour a day, and it's completely different than doing that number of hours on the floor, where there's just that energetic kind of
Hmm.
depletion that happens. That's different when you have the asynchronous communication.
Yeah, I mean, you have to recharge after those in-person sessions.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, most people do, unless you're just like have the ultimate battery source or something. But yeah, it's draining emotionally and
Hmm.
physically. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally,
You
one
kind of
hundred
got to
percent
put
on that.
the rah, face
Yeah.
on, and people
Yes.
bring
Yes.
all
Too
their
much caffeine, and then you
their
got to recover
baggage
from the
in.
caffeine.
Like, you hear everybody's life
Yes.
story between
One hundred
sets.
percent. Yep.
But
100%.
so yeah, so well, what's your vision going forward? Where's Priest strength and conditioning
Yeah.
going?
So right now, uh, this new year, I've got the website domain. The website's basically my bio and a link to get to me to schedule a consult. It's nothing more than that. Uh, and then I did the G Suite, which we were talking about earlier. That was a new one for me, so that I can. I mean, not just have my email with my domain name, which I like that too. This is nice, but
Yeah.
also have for clients to get in my schedule. I need a pathway to schedule consults. And I just didn't have that, right? And so now I have a pathway to schedule a consult with me online, which sounds super basic, but it kind of, it took some thinking to do, like, what's the economical way to do this? And so G Suite was it. And now we just, we're going to move in the direction of finding more pathways to onboard online clients. Like you're saying, it's like, look, I got this tool, I've got this thing. How do I get more people? And so,
Nice.
there's a lot of routes we can go. You can, I mean, marketing, we have a list, we have an engine that we use, the brick and mortar. We have a marketing coach. We could do that method too. You can, there's all kinds of levels. So the next, 3 to 6 months is kind of figuring out, well, let's solidify what the next step is, and let's move towards it now that we have, G Suite set up, domain, small bio website, all these things are there in place. Now we just need some more pathways, right? And I get a lot of referrals too. So I mean, this is something that's interesting too. One other pathway was, if you do in-persons, people move out of town. I had two ladies move out of town, actually, one to Birmingham from here, and I was like, hey, I'm not going to get salesy on you, but I want to go through this. And I gave her the pitch for TKC and everything. Now she's the client, man. So now I still get to train her. So yeah, so that was super awesome to, because as a coach, like I feel like I spend a lot of effort to nurture and grow people up and train them. To lose that it's just not a great feeling. Yeah. So to be able to keep those people that move away is it's extra, I don't know, like bonus points in my mind. It's like, yes, all right, great. I still get to chat with you. I still get to talk with you, and still get to train you. You know what I mean? What a privilege.
And from their perspective too, they've invested a lot into that,
Yeah.
the relationship and the buying into your program and your strategy and understanding your cues. Like you develop the cues that work for people and understand their whatever their little
That's
quirks
exactly
are.
that's exactly what my physical therapist said. She was like, "Man, you know me, you know my body. I love working with you." She was like,
Right.
let's do this?" And I was like, "Okay, cool." She sold it. I didn't have to do anything. Yeah,
Well, we
that's
kind of we're getting a little bit over. Are you good on time?
I'm good. Yeah,
Okay. Well, I want to kind of back up a little bit because our call
yeah.
to action today is actually applicable to your story, and we glossed over it just pretty quickly there. You, after your call with Matt, signed up for the academy and Turnkey
Mhm.
Coach, which they're actually, you get at that time. I think, I don't know if we're actually doing it right now, but at that time you automatically get added to Turnkey Coach by signing up with the academy. But yeah,
Mhm.
you were already NASM certified, working with a personal trainer, coaching people. What was it that attracted you to signing up with the academy, and what did you get out of the academy that was uniquely valuable to you?
That's awesome. I'm still getting out of the academy. It's like
Mm,
it's a right. It's a resource that is still there for me, and it hasn't gone anywhere. Right. It's not a
mhm,
static um 2-year certification that you need to, you know what I mean?
right.
It's it's a service in itself, I think, is the way I
Mhm,
saw it. Right. And I have always felt as a person, or let's say now as a coach, is that whatever I know, how much ever I know, I can always know more, and I probably don't know enough. And so to have resources and other coaches to chat with, to check in with, like Mac and CJ, and to have so many years of coaching, and it's just worth its weight in gold.
mhm,
I mean that's, you know what I mean. You
mhm.
can't figure something out, like let's run it past these brains. What a crazy resource to have. Not even talking about the modules that are actually in the course too, right? So
Right.
the modules are fantastic.
You went
I mean,
through 101 and principles, or just principles?
I went through all of the modules. So,
Okay.
but it's to some degree I've went through all of them. I think the anatomies, there's two on upper and lower anatomies. I haven't
Mhm,
gone through the modules in the academy. Okay, um, but uh, yeah, right. So I'm trying to think about, yeah. So principles. What does it start? Coaching 101,
mhm,
principles, and then
mhm.
what comes after that? There's
Advanced concepts.
advanced got split. I think it got split up maybe, but
Yep.
or did it something? Yes, yeah. Just an amazing amount of information
Hmm.
in there. If you already know something, um, to build upon that is just it's a great resource. It's just a great
Mm.
resource in itself. So small price to pay, worth its weight in gold. Um,
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's definitely something that we hear people. It's another one, similarly one where there's sort of like, I think, fog on the windshield where,
mhm,
everybody's out there selling a course. It's kind of cliche, but man, we have invested a lot into that program over the years, and it has got some, I think, world class content in it.
mhm,
That's not just theoretical. It's not just learn these facts and numbers. Although at some point when you get into anatomy, there's a component of memorization. But I think CJ's done an incredible job of translating theory into practice and giving
mhm,
very actionable, especially with coaching 101. It's sort of like the quick start guide of coaching where you can, we encourage people to just get started coaching. And I think it's also an maybe undervalued aspect of, or something we don't, as at least at Barbell Logic and Turnkey Coach, we don't appreciate how much the structure that we use to write programs is also a benefit to having repeatable workflow,
mhm,
and service to your clients. Because I look at some of the coaches that come through on Turnkey Coach, and their programs are insane. I mean, it looks like they're throwing the kitchen sink at somebody with 10 different exercises and 5 different warm-ups, and you
mhm,
know having a simple, hard, effective program that you can make minimum effective dose changes to gradually over
mhm,
time as the client's needs change, and kind of start with something that's applicable to everybody but eventually becomes 100% unique to that client, is
mhm,
in itself a benefit for both the client and the coach, and in the coach workflow. And so having the academy, which gives people that structure to apply coaching in a way that's client-centered, model-informed, lifter for life, I think is a really powerful and valuable resource. So glad that came across to you.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and I just think the from a coaching perspective, I'm always under that. The more I know, the more I think I need to revise and revisit what I don't know.
Right.
And we're just growing out here, and that's the kind of feel that I get from the academy as well. It's just it's a place of growth. I've learned a lot. I've ran, and just we're all lifters here. We've ran so many different kinds of programs. We've tried them all. Whatever conjugate MEDE work, we've done volume work, we've done different kind, and we've tried it. And so you kind of know what works for you. And so based on that, you may know what works for other people, but the more you can get into the methodology of like kind of what may work for Gym Pop and the masses, these kind of things, which the academy goes over very clearly, different places to change your programming perspective. Like, you're going to have the pivot points. They're in there. They're already in there in the academy, right? Like, what do you do after NLP? Or what do you do after top set, drop set? What do you do when these things stop working? Right. What do you do when clients get tired of the barbell?
Right.
Whatever, you're going to hit those points. If you keep somebody for long enough, you will, for sure.
Absolutely.
You can hit all those.
And I think that's one of the biggest things that has changed with the advent of turnkey coach, and what we've had. A big reason I think that you pick up on that in the academy is that working with clients asynchronously and collecting all the data that we have in turnkey coach has enabled us to work with clients, like you said, for years on end. I mean, I have clients I've been working with for a decade at this point.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And,
that's
amazing. Absolutely, if you're not able to evolve your approaches and meet the client with where they're at, then they're not going to stick around. And it's not to say that you need to, go crazy with it and buy into like muscle confusion or, doing crazy, silly BS with their program. Like, we still come back to the core principles, but you've got to widen the palette of exercises and programming strategies that you can use. As people, I mean, we're also you work with somebody for 10 years, they're also 10 years older.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Their lifting age changes, right, and grows with you as well as their normal age. Yeah,
lifting age, life, they're just like circumstances of life, how much they have time to train. They have more kids. They get married, they get divorced, they move, change jobs, all this kind of stuff. And that, like you said, the real coaching earlier that you were talking about is where you really get to kind of dig in and customize your programming. But
evolution of coaching, I kind of felt bad for saying the real coaching, because that doesn't make any sense, but like,
that's okay. It's all good.
Evolution of coaching.
Yeah. On that note, I'm going to take a brief moment here to drop in our call to action. As Eric has described, Coaching 101 is a really powerful tool. And if you have a few clients, but just doesn't feel like you have a real business set yet, you may think it's a lack of experience or confidence, but really it's a reflection of how you're running your business. Through our partnership with the Barbell Academy, we have a special offer today. Coaching 101 is a fully online, safe, self-paced course, the one we've just been talking about, that gives you the structure, delivery model, and tools to coach at a high level. Dedicate 1 hour each week and watch your confidence grow as a coach and business owner. There's modules for both. It's not just here's, how to coach. It's here's how to coach and actually deliver a service that you can turn into a business. And we encourage you to just start coaching. Right now, you can save $100 off your lifetime access to Coaching 101, making the total only $299 for a limited time. On top of that, you'll get access to your own TurnKey Coach account if you don't already have it, so you can deliver high-touch service to your clients in just minutes a day. Go to turnkey.coach/101 to get started now. Eric, I really appreciate you taking your time. I love having you in the community. Appreciate your enthusiasm. I love you posting the wins that you get along the way. And it's really cool to see you winning as a lifter and a coach, and excited to see where you take things. I definitely do think we should do a follow-up call, either with Mac or me, on
Love that. Love that.
how we can give you some more flexibility to use TurnKey Coach with your in-person folks as well.
Beautiful.
So, I think we can, and for those listening, we are experimenting with more flat rate pricing. We still think the per seat model works great for folks that are starting out because you can just roll it right into your price. But we are working with more gym owners, more brick and mortar people, and more online coaches who want to have more flexibility with their service model. So we have pricing that enables you to sign up for flat rates, flat fixed rate, independent of client count. We tend to bucket it with a range of about plus or minus 25 clients. But that way you can offer, group coaching programs, might be template only, very low or no touch services where, $8 a client might not be something that makes as much sense. So if you've got any questions about that or want to contact or talk to somebody from our team, either Mac or myself, drop a note to ajackson@turnkey.coach or mmcgregor@turnkey.coach, and we'll set up a discovery call and see what works best for you. And like I said, Eric, let's get some time on the calendar to get you set up with something like that.